if they're gonna take stuff, you know.
I understand the frustration because it's like you're doing everything that you can. You're filing this. He had violated it. I don't know all the story, but like that sounds frustrating.
He's a veteran, a rare one, and no one gives a shit. I just had to let go. I had to realize I was not in control of this, and I was only causing harm. I was not helping. And it's just gotten like progressively worse because he's not taking any of it seriously.
Hey, she did post one thing on her Instagram stories, and evidently it was something about a survivor, being a survival person. Like, girl, come on now. That's not what people want to hear from you for.
Anyway, so under that order of protection, I was not allowed to talk to her, speak to her, so I haven't been. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So that's why there's no direct contact between me and her, because that was basically a restriction. You know what I mean? So
I see the order of protection here, but it's expired.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it doesn't matter. The order of protection is not in effect. If you guys were next to each other, the only hassle you'd have is you'd be going to jail for your warrant. That's it. Yeah. If you were here. Yeah. The problem is
my unredacted motion of discovery from Fort Smith. I've never seen it. My lawyer, obviously the lawyer gets it and tells you some shit, and Jason told me some shit, but I've never actually looked at it.
When you put your life online to the degree that Jessica Kent did, and you make your brand being transparent, and you're giving people hope, and you are exposed as a damn fraud, and currently a walking red flag, people are gonna share their opinions. It is not my fucking job to send her an email and keep my opinions off my channel.
I know people don't understand, but like when you leave a relationship like that and then you suffer post separation abuse and issues with the court system and cops and DCFS and the constant threat that your abuser is going to take your kids away from you after everything that they put you through, it's fucked up. It's so fucking hard. It's not like you just break up with a regular person and like go about your life. This is completely fucking different, and it's never gonna fucking stop.
We're gonna be talking about Jessica Kent.
Jessica Kent is a well-known creator.
Jessica Kent.
They're trying to cancel Jessica Kent.
From Jessica Kent.
For the past 4 or 5 months, Jessica's name has been going crazy in these YouTube streets.
The Jessica Kent situation.
To the people attacking Jessica Kent, do you guys really think that you're the good guys right now?
But it's the law, and statistically, y'all do a fucked up job at protecting victims of domestic violence. So,
they're trying. Listen, they're changing a lot of laws.
I'm sure they are.
By the same token,
I really appreciate it. Thanks.
All right.
Well, we don't know if there's burglary because, well, we don't know how she got in, and this guy can't put her in the house.
What's up, you guys? Welcome to episode 4 of Truth Never Dies. Oh man, I want to start this off by saying that in every single episode that we do, I never know what to include or how to format it, how to edit it, and I tend to overthink it. Not only that, but it takes such an emotional toll on me to get these episodes out that it just takes time. So that's kind of why I haven't been posting the episodes as quickly as I would like. And hopefully that changes. I know a lot of you have asked how many episodes are there going to be. I estimate 6 to 8 episodes. And for episode 4, I am going to discuss parasocial relationships. I'm also going to touch on my paperwork just one more time because I think there is still some confusion. And then we're going to move on to body cam footage of what I have been calling U-Haul Day 2. And that is essentially the cops investigating whether or not I committed residential burglary. And all of that is in there at the end of this video. I'll try to remember to put timestamps in, but first I want to talk about parasocial relationships. The first thing that I want to say about parasocial relationships is when we're talking about them, oftentimes we refer to parasocial relationships as like super negative, and it is where you guys know a lot about me. I know nothing about you guys unless you, write something in the comments and tell me a little bit about your story. But still, parasocial relationships is where, it's a one-sided relationship. One side knows a hell of a lot more than the other side, which is what, we create when we watch YouTubers. But in my personal opinion, I don't think parasocial relationships are innately bad. I think they can move into the realm of toxic, especially when a creator, an artist, does not establish clear boundaries. I think it's unrealistic to watch a content creator, for example. I think it's unrealistic to watch them and not feel like you know them in some capacity, you know? And that is a very real thing. I don't think that parasocial relationships are fake. I think that we do create a connection, we do create a bond, you know, in this space that is very near and dear to my heart, that is very real. It's kind of like when we listen to music from our favorite artist and like we really connect to this song and it just hits us in all of the feels. We feel, you know, a connection to the song, to the artist, same kind of thing. For the most part, I have had an incredible experience in my career in terms of sharing my story and hearing your guys' story in the comment section or emails or in the live stream chat or whatever it is. I feel like overall, as a whole, for most of my career, the majority of my career, this parasocial type of bond that we have has been extremely positive, and there's no way in hell I could ever repay you guys for all of your kindness and your support. And it's so like surreal and overwhelming in like the best possible way that I never know how to describe it. I never know what words to use. And I'm sure that it does feel like I talk a lot about the negative side of it, the haters and the trolls, or the people that are just really freaking mean, or the people that are overly critical or invasive. I don't think constructive criticism falls into that category though, you know? In terms of parasocial relationships, I think there's a spectrum, you know? And wherever you fall on that spectrum, cool. You know, it could be like Reddit trolls. They're on this side of the spectrum. They're way over here, you know? Then there's like people that like, they kind of rock with me a little bit. They don't really like me very much. And sometimes they throw in some nasty comments, and like all the way up to like, you know, ride or die crew, which is on the other end of the spectrum. To clarify, if you subscribe to my channel, you're a ride or die crew member. Also to clarify, giving me constructive criticism from a place of love or from a place of basic human decency is not a hater. Giving me constructive criticism or being like, hey, I don't agree with that, that's not a hater. You're just a person with different beliefs. So I think that we fall into, I think when I'm talking about like haters or trolls, I think that a lot of people that have just given me constructive criticism, a lot of people take that very personally. I do not think, for one, if you disagree with me, that you're a hater. I don't think if you give me constructive criticism that you're a hater or a troll. I don't think that if you speak to me with respect and empathy and kindness, I don't think that you're a hater. I just think that you're a human being with like your own feelings. And even though they might differ from my views, my beliefs, and my feelings, that's okay. That's okay. Over the years, I've always encouraged you guys to let me know, you know, tell me what you think. Do you think differently? This is my opinion, this is what I believe, this is my experience. I would like to know yours. Anyway, my experience in this space has been mostly positive, and you guys have blessed me with all of these platforms, and there is a responsibility that comes with having a platform this size. And I have this size platform on almost all platforms. I think Facebook is like 700K or something. TikTok is at 1.3 million. You know, Spotify is you know, pretty big. There's a lot of things, you know, a lot of eyes on me. My Facebook page gets millions and millions of views every single month, and with that comes responsibility, and it also comes a lot of pressure. You know, there's a lot of pressure and expectations put on me, I feel like. Throughout my career, I never really paid attention to commentary channels or things that people were saying. I would see hate comments pop up, and I would sometimes I would reply and clap back. Sometimes I would just block them and just move on. But I was in such a better headspace before the last 18 months. So when I saw certain creators, especially in the recovery community space, attacking me because I need to be held accountable, or attacking me because I'm the face of recovery, no, I'm not. It was very hard. I kept seeing channels make video after video after video about me, and it was hard. It was really hard to handle. I kept seeing blatant lies. Like, I have people coming in and out of my house all hours of the night. I have strange people watching my children not true. There have been so many lies put on my name. My entire life story has been picked apart and questioned and dragged through the mud. I have been doxxed. My family's been doxxed. My biological daughter's father's family has been doxxed. My parents have been harassed. High school friends, people I sat next to in middle school. If I was in a yearbook with you, you probably got a message from these people. And it's just been really, really heavy. I haven't always responded to it in the best way, but I wanted to include some of the hate because I think it's important to talk about the damage that can be caused from parasocial relationships. While in the same breath, I don't think it's always a negative thing. I think that we do have a very real connection. I think the pressure and expectations that have been put on me over the years has been unfair. I never thought that my entire life story would be picked apart and nitpicked and then thrown back in my face. I never thought I'd be accused of building a brand off of lies and deception. And I never thought I'd be called a fraud because my story is real. And, you know, I can tell a story better than a police report reads, but my story is real. My story is authentic. And the most frustrating part in all of this is I was not strong enough throughout this year to even submit a FOIA request because I'm raising 2 kids and that has been very difficult. And I know that it's gonna sound like I'm making excuses, but 1, I don't owe anyone anything. 2, I don't have to defend myself, and I understand that. But to get on my computer and submit a FOIA request and get all these papers and call this circuit clerk and that circuit clerk, it was too much for me to handle. Because at the same time, I have 2 small kids, I'm in family court, I am being woken up all hours of the night constantly, like I was. It's gotten a little bit better. I was almost all year long, woken up 2 o'clock in the morning to cops at my door over and over and over again. I have had false DCFS claims put on me, and all year long, they've been unfounded. There have been 3 open and closed DCFS reports. Now that I'm in a better headspace mentally, the people that I've included in this series, if they've said something negative about me, they're like, that was 6 months ago. Okay, I was not capable. I was not capable of discussing this 6 months ago. I wasn't able to get out of bed 6 months ago. I didn't want to live 6 months ago. And I'm able now, I'm strong now. I'm in a better headspace. I have also had some time to look back at everything. So if I use your video in my videos, it's because I'm capable now. I'm able to do so now. I'm stronger than I was. To get back to the paperwork just for a second, and I know a lot of you are like, it doesn't even matter. It does though, it does. It matters to me because this is my name, my reputation, my brand, my entire career has been built off of my story. And someone got on the internet, dug up juvenile records and forged documents, and they have been trying to build a brand off of my name, off of my family's name, off of my paperwork, my private information. And when I became, strong enough and able to film for the docuseries, that is when that person said they were being doxxed, or I have allowed them to be doxxed. And they have taken a very strange position as a victim in this when they're the ones that, gained access to my juvenile record, completely misrepresented the paperwork they were reading. 1, because maybe they didn't understand some of it. 2, because it was literally malicious. They have forged documents. They have used FOIA request, which is your right to a FOIA request. It's your right as a, American to have access to what the cops are doing. It's called the Freedom of Information Act. However, you cannot gain access to records to publicly out and shame people, especially at this degree, where the safety of myself and my children are at risk. That person that was doing those things said that I allowed them to be doxxed because there was a live stream that took place. There was 1,300 people in my live stream, and someone had said this person's real name. I didn't see it. I went back in the chat to see the live chat replay, and one of my mods got it, but I didn't see it. I don't see it to this day, so I'm assuming, sorry, I have not verified. I'm assuming one of my mods took it out of the chat. I have since put her name into my blocked words, so it cannot be seen on my channel. That's the best that I can do, but I did not allow someone to get doxxed because a stranger said it in a live stream. You know, that's really just blame shifting, and it sucks. So there is a positive that has come out of that though. And that positive is this creator unknowingly handed me my manuscript, which sounds crazy. And we'll talk about that at another point. But this paperwork proves way more of my stories than it disproves. In fact, it doesn't actually disprove anything. It fills in some gaps that I didn't know, I didn't remember. I didn't know the timeline of certain things. The problem with all of this is, who knows what's real and what's not real? How can I prove to you that what these other creators are saying is false and what I'm saying is accurate? How do I prove that to you when we're looking at the same paper but someone else interpreting it differently than I am? You know, how can I prove to you that someone forged a document and it wasn't me? You guys, if you're residents of the state of Arkansas, you can pull the FOIA request yourself, but a lot of people think it doesn't matter. I do. It will bother me the rest of my career. I will be called a CI for the rest of my career. I will be called a rat. I will be called a snitch, a fraud for the rest of my career. And it is fucking infuriating. It is infuriating, you know, and there's not much I can do, but I will tell you this. It is legally impossible for me to be a confidential informant selling a bag of dope that I was charged with. Right? So if I was a confidential informant, then I would not be charged with that same bag of meth. You know what I'm saying? So it blows my mind. You know, I know my story. I know that I didn't snitch. I know that I did time for someone I hate pregnant when I could have walked out of those doors. Whether or not you give two fucks about that, that's on you. I care because it's my integrity and my reputation, and it's who I am as a person. And it might not matter to you, but it matters to me. It matters to me that my daughters know that when I did something bad, when I was wrong, because I was guilty AF, I took responsibility for my actions and I did the prison time for it. Plain and simple. And when I got out of prison, I got my daughter back and I fought with everything that I could to get her back. All of the other piddly little details along the way that have been nitpicked don't really matter. I had my daughter while I was incarcerated. I was kept chained to a bed for 2 days. My daughter went into the foster care system. I went back to prison. I got out homeless to a halfway house, 1,300 miles away from any friends or family, because all my friends were either in state prison, federal prison, or they were deported or dead. I had no one that could help me besides a couple of people in Micah's biological father's family. And I've never talked about this because I didn't want their information out there. But Micah's aunt gave me a small car loan and I was able to get a Scion XB. I think it cost like $4 grand or $5 grand. That was fucking life-changing. It was life-changing for me. She was also my roommate for a while, for like a year until my ex moved in with me and Micah. We dated for a year before he moved in. And while I have monetarily paid back that debt, I will never I will forever be in their debt because they did help me at a time that I had no one. Moving into an apartment with no fridge, fresh out of prison, you know what I mean? Like I had nothing. I didn't have a birth certificate, social security card, nothing. I am an addict. I was a very bad addict. I was an intravenous user for a very long time. I have not picked up my DOC since 2011, my DOC being pills. I was a pill addict and then a heroin addict, and then I did both of them. I speedballed. I did pills and meth for like 8 months in 2011, and I have been sober from those things since then. All of this online drama is nothing more than a smear campaign, and it has almost cost me my life. It has opened my eyes, though, to how cruel and unnecessary women are to other women. It has shown me how cruel and evil society is as a whole, but it's also showed me how many people have gone through this same exact thing. It has reinforced for me the reality of how broken our system is, how victims are ignored, gaslit, and then just not believed or just victim blamed or told there's nothing that anyone can do. I have experienced that all year long, both online and in person. I know there's a lot of criticism that comes with sharing my story because I have children. And let me just say that in my personal and very biased opinion, that is nothing more than manipulation. It's nothing more than an attempt, whether intentional or not, to silence an abuse victim. I am sharing my story because I know especially now, how many people have gone through this and have been ignored. How many people have tried to do it the right way with orders of protection and going to the legal system to try to keep themselves safe. I've seen firsthand how that doesn't work. I've seen firsthand how messed up our laws are, how wrong the court system gets it. I literally had an order of protection extended for weeks, and the court did not file it. It was not in the system. So when the cops were looking into it, they're like, oh, it's expired. No, it's not. No, it's not. He violated the order of protection 24 times between January and May. There isn't one now. It is expired officially, but he violated it 24 times. No one cared. Nothing happened. There were 0 consequences to him for that. I'm sorry if this is rambly and all over the place, but I did want to include some of the, the drama or the hate or the videos that you guys are seeing, because picking my story apart, misreading paperwork, forging paperwork, and then screaming it back at me is just like, it just compounded the abuse that I am still currently going through. And it takes on average like 2 years for your nervous system to recover from narcissistic abuse, just statistically speaking. All of this online craziness, like literally getting documents, forging documents, gaslighting me about my story, nitpicking it apart, like down to my own birth story. It's crazy, that has compounded the abuse. That has made it harder for me to recover. It is a very serious thing to gain access to juvenile records. It is not okay. The state of New York and most states take that very seriously. So for someone to gain access to police reports with me as a child, any kind of case involving me as a minor, no one has the right to. There is video after video after video online, especially on that one person channel that has this paperwork that says I never served any time in any facility in New York. I was never on probation in New York. I've lied about the whole thing. They have picked apart every single little word from every video, every interview across the internet, and then they've screamed it back in my face as if I'm a liar. The reason why it's compounded my abuse is because I would have to take receipts to my ex, like, this is an Uber trip that you took. You paid this person through Zelle and you took an Uber. I see the receipt right here. It was in your email. Well, now I'm crazy because I went through his email, right? Or I've faked it. I've forged this Uber receipt and they changed their Zelle, so that's not real, and they're gaslighting me, right? That is how it has been for me on the internet, because now I'm like, great, now I have to get paperwork, come to the internet, present my paperwork and present my receipts, all to get told that I'm still lying. It's the same exact thing. As a viewer, how the hell do you differentiate between who is lying and who's telling the truth? And then how do you separate commentary channels that are not moving maliciously, that are just literally talking about it? How do you differentiate them from the rest of the people that are like literally gaslighting me about my own life story? It's hard and it's messy. And I've said this whole time that there's a group of people that are nasty and malicious, and they believe their cult leader. Listen, Tracy is a fucking cult leader at this point. So I hope you're proud. They just believe her. They just believe her, and they, tell me there's no proof of her forging the document. Absolutely the fuck there is. But as a viewer, I can't imagine how it feels for you guys who, have watched my channel and supported my channel and have been inspired by me and encouraged by me. I can't imagine how that feels as a viewer. I kind of feel like these commentary channels that are just nasty and victim blame, and they're just miserable bitches. I said what I said. I think those people have tried to attack my brand, our relationship, the Ride or Die crew and me. It's like, this is why we can't have nice shit. Like, this is why creators are leaving the internet. This is why they're choosing to no longer create content, because of those angry, loud, just miserable people. And no, not all commentary channels are that. So if the shoe fits, wear it. If the shoe does not fit, move along. I would like to apologize for them too. For the miserable people and all the commentary channels and Tracy forging shit and lying about my story and gaslighting me about my story and making you guys question my integrity, my brand, and my reputation. I want to apologize for them too, because I kind of let her do it, you know? I wasn't strong enough at the time to pull paperwork and stand up for myself and film videos, and I kind of let them run with it. And then I didn't respond great because it would build and build and build until I snapped. I was in a really dark place. I was in an impossible place because if I don't respond, I'm deflecting. If I respond, I'm oversharing. You know, it's just impossible as a creator, and it must feel so heavy as a viewer. And for all of that, I'm sorry. I know now that I will never be able to make some people understand because their intention is to not understand me. Is their intention to believe that false narrative and believe that I'm a liar and a fraud and I built this empire based off of lies, which is just not true. It's kind of where the phrase flying monkey comes in, which I will say later on in the episode. Whether intentional or not, which I think most of it was unintentional, this smear campaign from these like really nasty creators, like Britt and Tracy. I don't even know the other ones' names. They had unknowingly, hopefully, become my ex's flying monkeys. You know, Mindy was my ex's flying monkey for a long time, and he relished in that. He got like a fix, like a kind of in the same way an addict would get like a hit. That's kind of how narcissistic or toxic people are. He got a rush from that. He felt more powerful because he could destroy my reputation with lies because I was hurting his reputation with the truth. And again, as a viewer, how the fuck do you know what is real and what is not real? This year has been so hard, and to all of you that have given me patience and grace and kindness, there's no way that I can repay that debt. All I can do is put out the best content that I can, spread awareness, share my story to help other people. That's always been the goal from day one. And show you guys that I really am who the fuck I say I am. And I really have done all of the things that I said that I did. And I'm flawed, but I'm not a bad person. And I learned a lot of hard lessons this year. So I'm in a better headspace now, and I am doing the best that I can to just move on and heal. And, you know, that healing journey does not look like me on a desert island. You know, that healing journey might involve some people. I might collaborate with people or like leave my house from time to time. You know, that doesn't mean I'm not on a healing journey. I can't heal on a desert fucking island. I'm finally getting back into the swing of things of recording and filming and editing and collaborating and doing all of these things, and I'm super excited about it. I downloaded the Patreon app so I can get content to you guys a lot faster now. I've made several videos with Burner420. I will link his channels down below and his Spotify down below, and I'm just having a good time, you know, creating content again and doing what I love. I uploaded a vlog on my vlog channel for the first time in 8 months, and that feels really good. And I'm going to turn my paperwork into my manuscript, and we'll talk about that when it comes into fruition. I've kind of made it my mission to take all this negativity and just make it positive. They tried to bury me. I'm a seed, bitch. Like a weed seed. This next clip, I am talking about flying monkeys, and I believe I lost a file. It kind of just picks up with, in my case, my flying monkeys were X, Y, and Z. If you take nothing from this series but this, please just take this one thing. Not all survivors react the same. They don't all feel the same. We're not scared 24/7. That's not how it works. We get trapped in these cycles because when it is good, it's so good. And when it's bad, it's really fucking bad, which triggers the same chemicals in your brain that an addiction does. Hear me when I say we're not all the same. We don't all react the same. We all have different triggers and traumas and stories and all of that, you know? Never say that is not something a victim of domestic violence would do. Never say those things. Don't say shit like that, because you don't know what someone would do until they're put in that situation and their past triggers and traumas are triggered. That ends my involvement in today's episode. I love you guys. I appreciate your love and support more than I could ever put into words. Bye, you guys. For me in my situation, our neighbor across the street, he was sort of my ex's flying monkey. And the really unfortunate component to that is that he didn't know. He didn't know that my ex was abusive. He probably thought I was a complete fucking lunatic. And the reason for that is because my ex had gotten ahead of it. My ex had made friends with him and told him things about me. He probably lied to him and said all kinds of things, like who even knows what he had told him. I never tried to talk to the neighbor. I never tried to explain my stance and explain what was going on and explain that I was literally in many moments fighting for my life. And I will never forget this day where I had gone over to my ex's house. We were supposed to be talking about co-parenting and potentially filming that video you guys saw in the last episode. And I show up. We're talking about like the framework of this video and what we're going to talk about, how it's going to be edited, how it's going to be put out. I'm not exactly sure where things kind of got like tricky. At some moment, he started to get upset with me, but I said, I would really like to talk about, the abuse that I have gone through. I believe that I am experiencing narcissistic abuse. I know there's a lot of things that maybe you don't remember because you were like in a whole blackout because, you were drinking so much. But there's so many things that I have to heal from. Things not even involving him or the abuse, things involving like my own traumas and my own triggers. In that moment, and I still feel this way, but I feel like my own journey with healing my traumas and my past and all of the stuff that I kind of went through before this relationship, I feel like my healing journey had been stunted in that. And, I stopped working on myself a long time ago and gave everything that I had to that relationship. So we're trying to talk about what that looks like on camera and what we're going to answer, what we're going to talk about, what we're not going to talk about. And I said, well, look, dude, we'll film it. I'll keep it as raw and as unedited as you want it, or I will edit things out. I will let you see the raw file before I even touch it. And we can keep it as is, or we can cut certain things out. But I'll let you see it before it gets uploaded. That way we're both in agreement. It's not a big deal. And I don't even know how the conversation became circular. But the next thing I know, he's getting up and he goes to the front door, he opens the front door and it's our neighbor, and he comes in and sits down in the living room, and I'm like, hi, how's it going? And our neighbor was a very kind man and just really good-hearted, and you can tell that. And his lawn is impeccable. It's important in the suburbs. Despite our neighbor's energy being very calm and patient and kind, I was like, why is he here right now? I didn't see that coming at all. And I guess my ex had texted him to come over. And at this point, I was elevated. I was really upset. And we're talking about the video, and at some moment, and this is gonna sound insane, but in some moment, I completely forgot that he was there. I completely forgot that he was even sitting there. And I'm so like overwhelmed with this whole conversation with my ex, and I'm just so like triggered, and I don't even remember what I was saying. I have no idea what I was saying. I was so fucking mad at him, and just so triggered because I'm here and you're like literally wasting my time, and I don't know. But I looked over and I saw the neighbor again, and I was like, oh shit, you're still here. What? And I look up at him, and I probably looked at him crazy, and I look over at him. He's sitting in a chair in the living room, and he says this to me, and it gives me cold chills every single time, because in that moment I knew I was alone. He says to me, Jessica, we just care about the girls. And I'm like, oh my God. In that moment I knew that my ex had already gotten to him, and told him whatever story fit with whatever narrative he was trying to push on the neighbor. And at that point, he was unknowingly my ex's flying monkey. That was like back in March or so. Now, I knew that certain things were happening. I knew that the neighbor was kind of reporting back to my ex. I never talked to our neighbor about the abuse that was going on until way after I left. I think that is kind of like a trademark thing when you're dealing with someone like my ex, is that they will get good people, kind people, empathetic people to unknowingly, just help them abuse you or harass you or report back to them about what you're doing. It usually falls under the umbrella of like, she's so crazy, she's like stalking me. Basically everything that they're doing, they'll usually say that you're doing. And then that becomes really difficult for family, friends, loved ones, neighbors. How do you differentiate between who is the victim in this and who is the abuser? Eventually who they are is shown. And sometimes it takes years for that mask to fall. In my scenario, it just took a matter of months after that interaction in March, because I had decided to reach out to the neighbor. Well, I think Jason did first. Yeah, Jason did first, and then I did. And I told him the situation, and he was very empathetic and apologized. And I never blamed him because I knew exactly what it was. And the reason why narcissistic or toxic people like this are so good at getting people to just love them and have their back and whatever is they are very charismatic. They're very intelligent. They're very well spoken. They put on a very good facade. In my personal experience, my ex, he says things all of the time that sound like accountability, that sounds like he's really working on getting better. Like he'll say that he did horrible things. It's like, oh, I did that when I was drinking. Oh, I just regret it. I just really miss my kids. I miss my girls. I wish I didn't do that. But before that comes out, usually there's a prequel to that movie, and that prequel is my ex did all of this horrible shit to me, and this is how I reacted, and she's so crazy, and she's stalking me, and texting you 2 times in a row about parenting is not stalking you. Stalking looked like what he did to me, which was coming to my hotel room at 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to get into the room, having people with him in the car drive around the hotel to see if there's a certain car that he's looking for. Stalking me looks like driving by my home. My dog is snoring and it's super loud. They will usually tell you exactly who they are if you pay close enough attention. But the flying monkey was definitely the neighbor.
It's Reese.
Hey Reese. Hey, it's Par again. Hey man, so I'm trying to look up the judicial circuit stuff for Kane County to see what you got going on here, and the only thing I'm finding is your criminal case that you have a warrant for.
Yeah.
So I can't even look up any notes to read. So what exactly was filed? Was it a civil? What was it?
There's actually nothing that's filed. There was order of protection started, okay? And I sold my property.
Okay.
And they got into a fight.
Hey, Zell, stop. No. Sorry, that's my partner. Sorry about that.
That's all right, no worries. Hey,
Zell.
Let me give you the rundown of here's why it's an issue, okay? Because she had an order of protection that was filed. In that order, when she moved out, she was using a Jeep that I bought that was in my name that was tagged to me. Well, anyway, she put that in the order of protection. Well, then my attorney, as we're going back and forth through the order of protection in the parentage case, the judge had to force her to return the Jeep. All right, so she gave it back last week. It went to the dealership. It got cleaned up. Well, that's what she got mad about. And then she started wanting property that she now says she left in the house or whatever else, like the pool table, there's a fish tank. So her attorney sent over a list. We sent back, these said items are not yours. You know what I mean? Like, this is his. Like, they were left in the house. There's pictures of it when it went for...
Did a judge agree to that?
Nobody agreed on anything. She just got tacky and got into the house.
Okay.
I know you're saying there's no way of forced entry, but there's very clear. I mean...
I don't know if there is or not. I'm going to go... Your neighbor just came across the street. That's what got my partner all riled up.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to go in the house now, and I'm going to kind of look around and see what we can find. As long as I have permission from you to go in the house.
You have permission from me, and I don't know what you want me to do about, the letter from our attorney to hers. I mean, saying that they're not allowed in the house, decline to the property, all these things. You know what I mean?
But it's from your attorney to her attorney.
Correct.
Okay. So here's the problem with that. That kind of gets us in a trick bag because that. people, and rightfully so, people need to listen to their attorneys, but their attorneys aren't out here dealing with actual stuff. Unless it has a...
And here's the thing about it. The reason it's gone like that is because I had an order of protection. And under that advisement for... You guys said it was dropped. My attorney still thinks it's going on because it merged with the parentage case. But anyway, so under that order of protection, I was not allowed to talk to her, speak to her, so I haven't been. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So that's why there's no direct contact between me and her, because that was basically a restriction. You know what I mean? So
I see the order of protection here, but it's expired.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it doesn't matter. The order of protection is not in effect. If you guys were next to each other, the only thing hassle you'd have is you'd be going to jail for your warrant. That's it. Yeah. If you were here.
Yeah.
But the other one is there's no order of protection. So that's null and void. But the problem is and rightfully so, people listen to their attorneys and they should, because they're giving them a lot of money. But unless a judge signs off on it, I don't. It's going to sound horrible, but I don't care what attorneys say. We can't go on that, because if we went on that, we'd be back and forth with things all day.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And the other day you saw a list. You saw a list from her. You saw put it this way. You saw in the notes that you read when the cops got called. She's saying she has a list from her attorney.
Right.
Again, right? That's a list from an attorney, not a judge.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So what you just said should have been like, this does not matter. This is not an order from the court. This is just you trying to say you want something.
But on the flip side, what we're having a problem with is the fact that she lived in this house. She had standing in this house. You guys weren't married, but you were together. So it's seen as like quote unquote marital property inside the house. So if you were at a domestic at this house right now with her, and she said, "I'm taking this pool table out," we're like, "No, you're not. It's staying in the house." So there's no way of us enforcing what's hers and what's yours, because it's marital property. So if she comes up and says, "Look, we're moving. I'm just taking out what's mine," that's the hurdle that we have to get over. And I don't know. I don't even know how to go about try to enforce that unless you have receipts from everything saying all of this is mine. You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully she doesn't have the same said receipt saying all of this is mine. So my sergeant,
no receipts for it. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
I get you, brother. I get you. I hate to. I hate to say this, but it's almost like we're probably gonna have to chalk this up, and you need to almost get either the locks changed, or we need to speed up the closing date a little bit. And I know that's easier said than done, but I'm gonna wait for my sergeant to get here, and then we're gonna go in the house. I'm gonna talk to him and see what's going on. I think I have all your facts right. I got your number. You're answering the phone pretty fast, so I can get a hold of you. So this is a work phone, by the way. So if I don't answer it, but then after 6, I pass it to the next guy. So I will let him know what's going on, but I do know the hurdles that we have to overcome. So I'm gonna throw it to him and see what he says, and we're gonna go from there. Okay.
Okay. All right, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you. All right. Bye bye. There. All right. And the neighbor that took the pictures last night, that put the people here, that does not want to be involved. Well, you kind of have to be involved if I start the report with, So.
Is the house closed? Does he legally own it still?
He legally owns it. Yes, they're closing next week.
Okay.
All right.
Give it an announcement.
Please. Please. All right. So I want to check these doors real quick. Make sure there's no forced entry.
Okay.
This is locked. He gave me the key to unlock that. They apparently give the cash box at the bottom.
Foosball table on the stairs down to the basement.
There's what?
Foosball table blocking the stairs down to the basement.
So they tried moving something.
Oh yeah. Or just threw it down there by the look of it.
Yeah, they tried to move that. All right. So here's my dilemma. My dilemma is this.
Well, first off, a relationship between the two. She used to live here.
It sounds like they have kids together.
Okay.
Not married. According to him, not married.
So I was reading up stuff on common law marriage. Basically, either you're married or you're not. And I thought there was a Supreme Court law that if you're not married,
even if you have kids, that property is property.
Well, and I agree, but I told him that. Let me go up here too. And I told him that on the phone, right? So he's going back and forth. Police department. He's going back and forth on the phone with me that the light on there. That there was a property that was gonna be that they agreed to that she could have, that he could have. He also says there's a court order. Well, here's the problem. I looked it up. His name, the only thing on the name is his court case for his warrant he's got. There's nothing else that shows that. See?
An unmarried partner is presumed his or her own property. It does deliberately. For example, joint account or putting both names in the home.
Well, he says he's the only name on the home.
Oh, we have to look at the deed. Was it? I'll look it up right now.
So I really believe that this is a civil issue. Still closing the. And this guy's like, well, I don't want to be involved. Well, then stop sending pictures. Yeah, you have to be. You're now. What's that say again? And if they're gonna take stuff, you know, so that would.
What's his last name?
His last name is
Judd.
Judd. It's Judd Reese. Judd is his first name. 25. The guy with the warrant. What's his last name? Klein. K-C-L-I-N-E. Yep.
Klein, that sounds like a
Middle name's Reese.
new upcoming CNA artist. Judd Klein. Nicholas Patrick. Judd Reese Klein.
Yep. He says there's an order of protection which is expired. Why is he?
It was against him though, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah, he's the only one that's a property tax record.
So here, see, and I keep telling him this. He goes, I got a letter from my attorney. I'm like, I don't care if you have a letter from your attorney or their attorney. We don't look at that. I want a judge's signature on it.
Yeah.
So he just sent me a text message. Here's the notice about access to the property. My client informs you returned that he has returned the trampoline, children's bikes, bedroom items, and the backyard patio furniture. My client declines her request to access the house. Please let me know if. Oh, okay. That's
civil.
That's civil.
Right. Just civil. So we just did a property check as we would for any resident. And everything, there's no signs of forced entry or any burglary, so.
Well, we don't know if there's burglary because, well, we don't know how she got in. And this guy can't put her in, this guy can't put her in the house. Yeah, there is a garage. Let's check that before because that's fine. That was fine.
Is that locked? You know?
Hey, there's a TV right there.
So this has a thing on it. So this is.
So that's open.
So you could probably, you know, the garage code. So here's what I'm going to do.
Well, and that's blocked.
Right.
So nobody's going in there.
So should I unplug this? The garage code doesn't work? Call and ask them.
No, we're gonna find
They're
out.
probably under the garage code going through here. And then we'll lock this deadbolt here.
He's not reasonable.
Well, ask him. There's this thing. This
is Reese Klein.
Hey, Reese, it's Parr again. Hey, man. So there is no forced entry to this house. None.
Yeah.
The garage door, the to the outside in the garage is blocked. The only thing we can think of is that she has the garage code.
Oh, she does.
She does?
She probably kept it. Yeah. Is there a Harley Davidson?
Is there a Harley Davidson? Where, in the garage? I just lost him. He just asked if there was a Harley in the garage. Is there a Harley in the garage? Well, he just... Great. Stole the Harley.
Sorry, I lost you in the garage, or
That's
the
right.
elevator.
That's right.
Harley Davidson in the garage?
Like a motorcycle?
Yeah.
No.
There isn't?
Nope. Who's it registered?
It's a title to me. It's my motorcycle.
So...
It's like I have the title to it. It's mine. I bought it. That is a stolen property. That's not a back and forth. I need to report that stolen.
Well, do me a favor, text me the title and send me the plate information.
Okay. Well, I have to get I'll get a picture of it. It's in Arkansas, where I'm at, but it's in my dad's safe, so I'll have to get it out. So
All right.
What do I need to do?
Well, I'll see if I can look up some stuff on my... When were you up here last?
Huh?
When were you here last?
It was never titled. It was basically never registered. I bought it. I had the title signed over to me.
So there's no plates on it, so when I look it up, there's no plates at all.
We need a bill of sale too.
Well, do you have a bill of sale?
Yes, I do. That's the title of the bill of sale. Got all that.
Well, I'm gonna need all that.
Okay.
So I can enter it as stolen, and I'm gonna have to call her and tell her if you got the motorcycle, I need it back.
Yeah.
So
okay. I'll get the picture now.
Do you want us to unplug the garage, the garage door opener?
Huh?
Do you want us to unplug the garage door opener?
Well, I can't because there's supposed to be an inspector that comes, and the requirement is the garage doors have to be plugged in and available. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, that's probably how she's getting in if she's got the code.
I don't know if there's a code or not, but let me put it this way. That motorcycle, I'll get you the copy of the title.
Okay.
And I'll send it to you. I'll get my dad's wife to get into the safe, and that's going to be reported stolen. And that would be basically they got into the property. We know who it was. We have pictures and the motorcycle.
Well, herein lies the problem. Your neighbor doesn't want to be involved.
I know.
So I have to try to figure out how to word how we know that it was them on the property.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't want to be involved. So, and we can't do anonymous tips. So, I mean, I can report it stolen, but I can't list her as a suspect because I can't put her here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I can take the stolen report, the burglary and the stolen vehicle report, but I can't list her as a suspect because we don't know if it's her or not.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So unless we see somebody actually physically going into the garage, physically opening the garage door, and physically taking the bike out, then I can't list her as a suspect. But I can put it as stolen. So
Let us ask him about the USB around the deadbolt.
there was a USB cord tied around the deadbolt to the garage door. Do you know about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You did that?
Yeah, I guess that's them. So I don't say.
Okay. All right. We took it off and we locked the garage door again. So
Okay.
so the garage door will be locked. So but yeah. Okay.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right. Yeah. As soon as you can get me that stuff, do you have a pen and paper handy?
Yeah, it was just basically secure.
Yes, sir.
Hey, do you have a pen and paper handy?
I do.
Okay. When you're ready, I'll give you my email address.
Okay.
Dave.
Where there's no handgun inside.
Okay. All right.
All right. When you send the title and everything over, hang on, Gracie. I got one more question for when I'm done. When you send the title over, I need to know the last time you were here and the last time you saw that bike.
Okay.
So, and I need any physical description of the bike. If you have a picture of it, that'd be even
I
better.
got a picture of it.
Yeah, send me everything you got on the bike. And then, what's the question?
This is all torn apart.
I guess that's it. I guess basically I'll get it to you.
Okay.
Send you a picture of the bike. Send you a picture of. I think I may have the plate on it. I don't know the plate that was on it. You know what I mean? But it's pretty easy. You know what I mean? It says the motorcycles. You know
Hey.
And I know her address, you know what I mean? So, but I don't know where they'd keep it. They probably hid it.
There's a Ruger box in your front room that's empty.
And the desk is torn
Yeah.
apart.
Okay, and the desk is torn apart. Was that all you?
No, the desk. I don't know what's in that front desk area.
Well, there's a picture of Conor McGregor on there. You got an R on here. There's a drawer with some license plates in it. There's a box with you had a Ruger. So a handgun.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, that's not mine. I don't have a registered handgun to me. So.
That's not yours.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, there's nothing in there. So.
Yeah.
And then.
But there's nothing in that room. Is there a TV and a fridge?
There's a monitor and there's no fridge in the front room, but there's the TVs and everything else. Oh, there's a TV there on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the den.
The mini fridge is gone?
Yeah, I don't see a mini fridge in that front room right when you walk in. In the den. So I don't see that, but there's no fridge in the kitchen. There's
no fridge in the kitchen? That's part of the house.
Yeah, that fridge is gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the house. You can't take that either. That's stolen. I mean, like this house was going for sale. It's stolen.
What's this?
That's all.
So
that house was bought with all the appliances.
So there's a note from you. It says, "Thanks for staying up cooking for dinner for me last night." Is that from you?
What?
There's a note on the kitchen table or the kitchen counter. It says, "Thank you for staying up for cooking me for dinner last night."
No.
Well, it says, "I love you, Reese," at the bottom of it.
No, but that's bullshit. See, here you go. See, the neighbor. I wasn't there.
When did you leave here?
When did I leave there? I've been moved out of state for fucking 6 weeks.
Okay. Well, when
I was there at the property within the last couple weeks, just to basically make sure the clear closed, the repairs were done. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I need you to send me the email with all that information, and then I need you to send me when you were last at the house. I need you to send me basically when the last time you saw all the stuff in the house, the refrigerator, the motorcycle, and then we kind of go from there. Here's the problem, though. I'm not gonna lie to you. Trying to get her to proof that she did it is going to be few and far between.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna pretend to tell you that she's going to get charged because it's above me. It's got to go to investigations, and the way King County is, they're going to want a confession. And if she doesn't say I went in there and took it, especially since your neighbor doesn't want to be involved, if she doesn't go in and say I took it, then you said that she changed the locks, or you changed the locks. She didn't have a key after you changed the lock, so there is no forced entry to this house. So I don't know where it's going to go.
The letter on the front says thanks for staying and cooking dinner last night.
Well, the letter on the counter says CM Babe or GM Babe. Probably good morning, babe. It says thank you for staying up and cooking me dinner last night. The house looks really good too. I love you, Reese.
That's not me.
So, and then the other one it says thanks again, Boo. Sorry about the mess. I'll send the cleaners.
Wow, that's clever, isn't it?
Yeah. So. Hashtag chess. Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Well, we will go ahead and send me all that information, and I'll pull a report. And
can you take pictures of that stuff that's in there too? I'm gonna have to give it to my attorney.
Yeah, we'll take pictures for the.
I gotta take pictures of that letter and everything. Yeah.
So, well, you sure you saying you didn't write these letters?
No, fuck no.
Okay.
I'm not there. I'm not allowed to speak to her. I'm not allowed for her to be over there yet.
Okay. All right, man. We'll take us there. All right. Bye bye.
Wow.
We have no idea when that bike.
That's explaining shit.
We have no idea how long that bike's been gone.
He noticed that she showed up with the U-Haul, but he didn't notice them take the fucking fridge out.
Well, they came here 2 days ago. Eli was here.
Yeah.
And then this guy watched them back a U-Haul in, but didn't see anything else. Never saw her go into the house. So
no one saw like I'm moving shit up. This was yesterday they came with the U-Haul?
Last night.
Well, Eli's thing was from Wednesday though, right?
17th.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
So, I'm just wondering.
Thank you. But he's been gone 6 weeks and left the house like this. Unless he's supposed to leave all the furniture.
Is any of this shit still cold and melting?
It was all when she got the shit. Oh, it's warm. It's all nasty. This is just gonna start stinking.
Who's the guy? The guy outside's a neighbor or real?
I have to go out and look at my password for my Axon thing. I'll be right back.
Oh, it's extra?
Yes. Hang on a second. I can get a report number. 25. Can I get a report number? Let's just go with vehicle or residential burglary for now.
Yeah, I'll forget my password. I gotta work on it, make sure I was fine.
Now I have to take a report for something I have no idea what. He didn't have any information on.
Yeah.
Never titled it. Let's hope she doesn't. Well, and unless she admits to coming in here, we have no forced entry. We have nothing. They saw her. So an anonymous neighbor saw her at the front yard, in front with you all, which is what I'm going to put.
Yeah. Check for ring cameras across the street, but
Yeah. That bike was gone that day, the 17th. And I'm gonna call.
by all accounts, they didn't even make it in the house that day.
We don't even know if they made it in the house at all.
Right.
That's why I said I can't list her as a suspect.
Yeah.
You know, this guy, this anonymous neighbor, never saw him gain entry. There's no forced entry.
Yeah.
Bear with me.
All the girls were just headed up to Dunkin' Donuts too. I was just like, hey, we're on our way. Okay.
All of there.
No, we weren't going to that one. We were going to go to the other one because Paul was up there.
Alright, I'm about to log in here. Authentication code, Jesus Lord. It's all that first one. Alright. Over here. I'm getting ready to take them.
No, I'm going to take them just for me so I don't write the report.
Photo. Alright, here we go.
And then
Correct that.
this guy walks up in the car and she just goes ballistic.
Alright, so I got that.
Does not like people walk up in the car.
Oh, really?
Back door. What else we got?
You can do the front door too, or the garage door. And he said that USB was on there when I asked him.
I took it off. It's a motherfucker to watch. So. It's probably because you can't.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. I'm just gonna keep it locked. You gotta.
I've never seen that house without a door handle.
Yeah. Where's the? That's why I had the USB on there. Put it back over here. So you can open the dang door.
Can we go in the basement?
Yes, but no. I mean, you pass it or not.
Well, they did. fridge down here.
Is it a full fridge?
What?
Not that would have gone up in that space.
Alright.
Anything?
Is there an entertainment center down there? Like a TV?
Yeah.
Okay, it's still all there?
Huge TV too.
Okay. He had mentioned that earlier.
Face to location, try to stop in the building. Person's per tonight. One last credit.
You can put this ticket on hold. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Nothing?
Huge entertainment. There's a bedroom on the back side. Huge entertainment center. Huge TV. Still turned on.
Like Netflix is on there or something?
Yeah, it's like the loading screen or something.
Alright.
Probably no signal because there's probably no Wi-Fi.
Alright, well.
But it's like...
Dan, can you get a picture of that? If you're still logged in, can you get a picture of the foosball table thing? Since all that's
It's like one of the older fridges with freezer on top.
Oh, sure.
Like full size, but
like a beer fridge?
Not big enough to go in there.
No, I mean, it is what it is, but I don't like him not being on the scene either.
Alright.
So I don't think you're taking somebody's word for it.
Yeah, and in like several states over too.
Well, the problem is he's got a warrant. He ain't coming home.
Yeah.
So,
The key to lock up?
yeah. Well, this would help.
Narcissist, like courts or Showtime. It's like the courtroom is that narcissistic person's stage to become whoever they feel like they want to be in this courtroom right now. It's like, Your Honor, action. It's like, seriously, they're going to put on an act. You know what I mean? And that's why I tell people, like, if you're dealing with a narcissist, like, this is how they're going to do right here. It's going to be an act. Very rarely are you going to have an honest narcissist or toxic person come into court and tell the truth about what went on in the relationship. Family court or criminal court, civil court, whatever the name of it is, y'all, like, very rarely are they going to act any type of way. They're going to try to get the audience, the jurors, the judge, your family and friends, or whoever's sitting around on their side. That's the goal. The goal is to get people on my side and against you. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to put on an act. And a lot of times narcissistic people will absolutely come in there and become somebody that they're not. They're going to be coming there, be manipulative, be like, if they were loud, yelling and screaming at you all the time, they're going to be coming in court and act quiet and diminutive, like meek, timid. You're like, what the hell is going on right here? Of course, they're going to try to be charming and things like that. Everybody can be different, of course. But like, a lot of them are going to be coming and trying to be charming people I want the judge and the jury or whoever's watching me, I want them to think that you are out of your mind for pressing charges on me. You are out of your mind for how we got here. Or if they press charges on you, they're going to make people think that you are that you are absolutely the villain here, y'all. Your greatest power in the courtroom a lot of times is going to be controlling your reactions. Because if you can't control how you react in the courtroom, they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to literally, emotionally, and mentally, and sometimes physically beat you down within the courtroom. Not put their hands on you, but you're going to be physically exhausted.
All right, so I've got hundreds of emails from people saying they felt like they were tricked in their relationships. That in the beginning, their partner was charming and loving, but once things got more serious or once they moved in together, their partner seemed to flip on them. And it was only after months or years of painfully trying to get out of that relationship, they figured out, I think my partner was a narcissist. And so I started to make a list of all of the early warning signs that they gave me. So hopefully that can help someone else not get stuck in those potentially dangerous relationships. And if you've been through that, I just want to say I'm so sorry. My goal is never for you to feel shame. You don't ever deserve to be abused or mistreated. We can all be too trusting or too giving. That's not something that you need to beat yourself up over. This isn't about victim blaming. This is about empowering ourselves and educating others. Disclaimer number 2, we throw around the word narcissism a lot these days. We make it an umbrella term for a lot of things. And yes, it's important to know the warning signs of narcissism. That's why I'm making this video. But it's also important not to label everyone as a narcissist. True narcissistic personality disorder is a diagnosis from a doctor. Narcissistic traits are different, and they exist on a spectrum from mild to severe. And to that point, if you only remember one thing from this video, I want it to be that the primary need for any relationship is safety. And you can't have safety without trust and respect and kindness. And regardless of if someone meets criteria for a narcissist or not, it's up to us to do everything we can to advocate for our legitimate needs in our relationships. Every red flag I talk about has some common thread around power and self-centeredness. Healthy, safe relationships are mutually respectful. They don't have a power imbalance. It's not normal for anyone to try to dominate you or hold all the power in their relationship. That's not okay. So if you feel dominated or unsafe, please reach out to a professional and get safe and talk about what's going on. Having said that, these are my top red flags for exposing narcissism as early as possible. All right, clue number 1 is the love bombing stage. Unfortunately, the goal of a true narcissist is control and manipulation. Love isn't going to be possible with them because love involves us caring about another person, considering their needs, wants, and desires. And a narcissist can't care about anyone except for themselves. But they can pretend for a while. So love bombing is an attempt to gain your trust and devotion by going above and beyond with things like attention and affection and gifts. The true narcissist needs you to fall in love with them as quickly as possible because they can't keep their mask on forever. And they know if they can get you attached, if they can get you on the hook, it's much easier to control and manipulate you, and it's less likely that you'll actually leave. So they've become very good at being very charming, very playful and mysterious in the beginning. And unfortunately, this matches perfectly with some of your personalities because you tend to fall in love hard and fast, don't you? If you like someone, if they're giving you attention, you'll let your guard down and fully open up to them and tell them your fears and insecurities and dreams because deep down you crave connection and closeness with them. And in the beginning, they will listen, they'll mirror you, they'll act like they care, they'll start talking about how they've never felt like this with anyone else before. They'll talk about how perfect you guys are for each other, and they'll give you gifts, and they'll love you in the ways that you told them you feel it most. And they'll begin to isolate you from your friends and family because you don't need them, you have me. Remember, it's us versus the world. And to the inexperienced person, we think, I've finally found my person, someone who actually sees my worth and value. I think this is my soulmate. It's only been 2 weeks, but we've all heard those stories at love at first sight. This could be one of those moments. And the problem is, it's only a matter of time before they slowly take their mask off and start disrespecting you and manipulating you and mistreating you in subtle ways. They start to get really jealous and accuse you of cheating. They start being very inconsistent with their behavior. They were hot, now they're cold. They slowly start dismissing you. They start shaming you. They say things like, I thought you were smarter than that. Or they start invalidating you. You're just being too needy. You're just too irrational. They start planting seeds in your mind that you shouldn't trust your own thoughts. Wow, I didn't know your memory was so bad. This is called gaslighting. It's a tried and true tell of a narcissist. If they can get you to question your own reality, if they can get you to believe, maybe I am remembering things wrong, then of course it's easier to manipulate or control you. Once again, it's all about creating power imbalance. The narcissistic person will always find ways to dominate you, whether with words or actions. They aren't concerned with how you feel valued or prioritized. It's much easier just to simply call you too needy or too emotional. But remember, too needy according to who? That's right, them. And unfortunately, so many of us fall into this trap perfectly because your natural tendency is to question yourself. You don't default to thinking, what's wrong with them? You default to thinking, what's wrong with me? The sad reality is for some of you, because of your trauma, you've been subconsciously working to earn love or attention your whole life. You're used to being neglected or dominated. So even though it feels wrong, that doesn't mean it doesn't feel familiar, which means your brain doesn't see it for the red flag that it is. And so you start this dance where you try to earn back their love and attention. You're trying to get back to the love bombing phase, not realizing that it's a game that you can never win. They'll tell you that you need to change. They'll say, if you really loved me, you'll do X, Y, and Z. But even if you did it, they'll just move the goalpost and then call you too needy or you're expecting too much love from them. They will start to use your vulnerabilities and insecurities against you because they want you to feel worthless or powerless. It's the only way that they can stay in control. So how do we prevent this? Well, first and foremost, we have to take things slow in the beginning of a relationship. You don't need to speed things up in the beginning, even if it's going great. It's our own insecurities that lead us to think that we need to keep them happy or we need to dive deeper into love with them, which almost always involves doing things sexually with them, which of course in the moment feels right. But the problem with that is that when we sleep with someone, hormones like oxytocin are released. Do you know what they call the hormone oxytocin? The bonding hormone. So you're bonding with them on a deeper level now. And then once they start mistreating you, you give them the benefit of the doubt. And you try to make this relationship work instead of being able to ask ourselves honestly, does this relationship still work for me? The truth is we need to be guarded in the beginning of a relationship. This doesn't mean we can't be vulnerable and have fun with this person. It simply means that they need to earn our trust with consistency. They need to earn our trust by showing us that they value respect and kindness. They need to show us that they care about honesty and honoring our boundaries. And for so many of you, your partners never had a chance to honor your boundaries because you didn't have any. We thought talking about our non-negotiables would create distance in the relationship or cause them not to like us anymore. So we end up abandoning ourselves so that they don't abandon us, which usually leads to people taking advantage of us, right? Remember, this is about setting ourselves up for the best chance at success. It doesn't mean that someone can't still hurt us even though we love them. But there are certain things we can do to prevent from being tricked by someone, and one of those is taking things slow in the beginning, opposed to falling in love with someone and getting into a limerent state where we're essentially blind to the red flags because we want to believe in a fairy tale that even our friends and family are starting to warn us about. All right, the last thing I'm going to say about this is that a narcissistic or immature partner will not tolerate you having boundaries in the beginning. To them, boundaries are going to be a threat to their power. So if you truly want to protect yourself, once things get more serious, I'm not saying bring this out on the first date, but once you start having real feelings for them, be more open and honest about what you will and will not tolerate. Say things like, I want you to hold me accountable. I'm not going to disrespect you, call you names, yell at you, or pressure you sexually. And I won't tolerate those behaviors either. That's a surefire way to weed out some toxic people because you will immediately be labeled as too much. A narcissist doesn't want to work too hard to manipulate someone. There's plenty of fish in the sea. The best way you can prevent a toxic person from entering your life is by fully understanding what toxic behavior looks like and then being kind and respectful but also assertive about what you know is right and wrong. The right person will have no issue with that. The wrong person will be extremely offended and will shame you for it. All right, clue number 2 that you're dealing with a narcissist or at least someone who is emotionally immature is an inflated ego and an excessive need to be admired. These are not normal traits for the average person. They are red flags of a deeply insecure person. It's one thing to understand our worth and value as a person and be proud of ourselves for what we've accomplished in life. It's a different thing altogether when they bring every conversation back to them and they elevate themselves while bringing other people down. If every time they open their mouth, they give off this vibe that they think they're superior, it's because they think they are. And if they are superior, that makes you inferior, which means they have no interest in your opinion. That's why you feel like it's always 50-50 whether they're going to punish you when you speak. Let's not mistake arrogance for confidence. Pride and superiority are toxic to any relationship. And one of the best clues at spotting a narcissist is analyzing what comes out of their mouth. Listen to what they say. Notice how nothing is ever their fault. Notice how they are always the victim. It's always unfair for them. Ask them about any past relationship and you will see it ended because of the other person. And just remember, how they talk about them is exactly how they will talk about you one day. They have to blame shift for everything because they are terribly insecure. They can't take accountability for anything because in their mind, if they did something wrong, that means they are wrong. They aren't superior anymore. They aren't more important. Mistakes aren't allowed in the fantasy world that they have created that is now their personality. So they will never admit to fault. They will never apologize. And even if they did, it would sound like, I'm so sorry you can't take a joke. Or, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Or, okay, I'm sorry. Stop living in the past. Anybody ever heard those? And don't make the mistake of giving a narcissist any type of feedback or criticism because I promise you they will explode in rage and I don't trust them not to hurt you. Because whether with their words or actions, they will punish you so that you never do that again. Pay attention to how people react. It tells you everything you need to know about whether they have the capacity for the safety and respect and kindness you deserve. All right, number 3, the next clue is that a narcissist has no capacity for empathy. They can't and they won't, because empathy requires you to step in someone else's experience. True empathy demands you see the world from someone else's point of view, through their lens. And the narcissist will never see value in that because it's beneath them. In their minds, empathy and feelings are a waste of their time. That means your feelings are also a waste of their time. And if you're truly serious about setting yourself up for success in your relationships, then you cannot date someone without empathy. It might be the single most important thing you should look for when choosing a new partner. If they have everything else, if they're smart and funny and good looking and they tell you all the right things and they do nice things for you, but you're seeing from their words and actions that they invalidate feelings and they have no capacity for empathy, there's a 100% chance that relationship fails. Someone who has no interest in empathy also has no interest in humility or intimacy or vulnerability or emotional safety or resolving conflict in a respectful, healthy way. And trust me when I tell you, those are necessary for any relationship to survive or thrive. And when we don't have them, we've all experienced relationships that just have no depth to them, right? It's superficial, and that's what makes it so easy for them to eventually discard you and move on to someone else so quickly. All right, number 4 red flag is obvious. It's self-centeredness. Narcissists will always be self-centered, and self-centeredness is kryptonite for any successful relationship. This is one of the reasons they don't compromise with you during a disagreement, because why would they? Remember, in their mind, they're entitled. They deserve your praise and admiration. They deserve to do what they want with who they want when they want. But at the same time, they will criticize you or call you names or worse when you ask for the bare minimum amount of consideration or thoughtfulness, or God forbid, appreciation. They are a walking double standard. They need you to feel small so that they can feel important. This is called emotional abuse. The bigger issue is that self-centered people pair up really nicely with selfless people, don't they? I mean, let's just be honest. Do you tend to give and serve and put your needs on the back burner in order to please someone else? Do you avoid talking about your true feelings because it'll just start another fight? Because I'm just here to remind you, that's not a safe relationship. Your feelings matter, your needs matter, and you deserve someone who prioritizes you. You deserve someone who cares about what you need to feel safe and valued and loved in this relationship. That's not asking for too much. That's literally the bare minimum. So be very careful thinking you can change them with your love. Be very careful thinking you can heal people that don't think they're sick. Be very careful thinking you need to feel whole with them. This is what's so dangerous about all this. The hardest part about this isn't spotting the red flags. It's what are you going to do after you see them? Because for so many of us, we don't feel whole without them. We don't feel valuable unless they say we're valuable. I heard one victim say, I know they're the one that broke me, but it feels like they're the only one that can put me back together. All right, red flag number 5 is lying. Narcissists are chronic liars. You know something feels off. You feel like they're lying, but you can't prove it. And they dismiss your concerns, they call you crazy, tell you that you're imagining things, and then when you finally get the proof that you were looking for, they tell you that you're just overreacting. Do you see how it's a game that you'll never win? They will do anything and everything to invalidate you if you let them. It's your job to know, oh, this person is a liar. I'm trying to get a liar to admit that they did something wrong. That's probably not going to work, is it? I talk to people every single day that are dealing with chronic liars or cheating partners, and so many of them are still giving them the benefit of the doubt. And I tell you because I care about you. You have to know what your standards are. You have to know what your boundaries are and what lines are okay and not okay to cross, and what to do when they cross them. Because if you don't set your own standard, I promise you someone else will try to do it for you, and they won't set it too high. So yes, this is hard. But sometimes we have to mourn the death of an unsafe or unhealthy relationship and stop trusting untrustworthy people. For any relationship to work, there needs to be mutual respect and trust and safety, right? There needs to be closeness and connection. And you can't have those with anyone who doesn't actually care about your needs, wants, and desires in this relationship. And eventually one of two things will happen. They will discard you like you never meant anything to them, which will break your heart and set you up to do anything to get back with them. Or you will find the courage to leave, and they will blame it all on you and say you're abandoning them. And you know what's sad? You're going to feel like you are. Because you were abandoned in your early childhood, and you made a pact with yourself to never hurt someone else the way that you've been hurt. So when someone says that you're abandoning them, it tugs on your heart. You wonder if you are. You wonder if you've given this enough time, if they deserve another chance. And the answer is no. They don't. They boxed you into this corner. You gave them 100 chances to give this relationship the safety and respect that it needed to survive, and in those moments they said they had more important things to do. You're not abandoning them. This is called you reap what you sow. And when they shame you into staying, or lie to your friends and family and tell them all how nothing they ever did was good enough for you, they are just manipulating you because they know that you're kind and loving and selfless. And if you go back to them, they will change for a couple days, but then it will be right back to old habits. I'm not saying this isn't extremely hard and very sad. It is. But just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not right. And eventually we have to admit this is just the way they are. And I refuse to be manipulated anymore. All right, let's make number 6 an easy one, and that's communication. How they speak to you matters. Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and some people have killed their relationships with their words, haven't they? Do they lose their temper and yell at you? Do they demean you and belittle you and call you names, look down their nose at you? Because I know how easily it is to get trapped in a relationship like that, but trust me when I tell you, it's not normal, it's not loving, it's not safe, and it's abusive. The narcissist's entire job is to control and manipulate you. So they will bully you. They'll punish you with their words or reactions if you try to rise up against them in any way. The relationship is only at peace when you have silenced yourself. They also know you want connection with them, so they'll give you the silent treatment for as long as it takes to get what they want, and they'll force you to apologize even when you haven't done anything wrong. And this is huge. The narcissist will bait you into a fight because they thrive on your emotional reactivity. It makes them feel important. They know all the right buttons to push, and let's be honest, they're really good at dominant, aggressive communication. They know how to trap you. They know how to catch you when you misspeak in one area so they can discredit everything that you've said. You have to understand this isn't a game that you can win. You are completely outmatched. You're still operating from a place of trying to be respectful and loving. The narcissist doesn't let something stupid like kindness or respect get in the way of winning this fight or making you feel small and worthless. So they poke you and prod you and call you names and exploit your weaknesses until you finally explode and say and do terrible things. And then they sit back and say, wow, look how toxic you are. You should be ashamed of yourself. I can't believe you call me the narcissist. You're lucky I put up with any of this. And then they will proceed to tell everyone about what you did. And the worst part is, they're not lying. And this is why I get so many comments from people wondering if they are the narcissist. And the answer is no, you're not. What's happening is your mind knows what your heart won't admit, that this isn't fair, this isn't right, this isn't safe, and we need to get out. So you're finally exploding in anger because your body is sick of being abused. There's a reason you only react this way with them, right? You ever blow up on anybody else? No, I didn't think so. Probably because you're not being abused in those relationships. So how do we fix this? We realize that we aren't fighting with them. We're fighting for our own worth and value. We're fighting the ghosts of our traumatic past. We're fighting for our right to be heard and understood. We're fighting for our right not to be abused. But we also need to learn to stop fighting someone that doesn't see us as valuable and never will. We need to stop fighting with someone who is committed to misunderstanding us. And we need to take accountability for how we reacted, forgive ourselves, and learn how to set healthy boundaries. It's not right to blame our reactions on other people. No, you don't deserve to be abused, and we should fight against abuse. But that doesn't mean actually fighting your abuser with your words or actions. You know that doesn't solve the problem. The solution is to understand their game plan. The solution is to see through their attempts to throw us off balance by humiliating us or making us seem stupid. They'll say, you're an idiot, you don't even make sense. Or they will lie or go off on a tangent about something else. The goal is to keep you arguing, keep you defending yourself. That way they still hold all the power. They will act like it's pointless to argue with you because you're so dumb, right? Watch what happens when you stop talking. They will continue to yell or argue because they aren't interested in a good faith disagreement. They're interested in getting a rise out of you. The solution is holding ourselves accountable and holding our partner accountable to disrespect and contempt and criticism and name-calling and yelling and setting boundaries around those. I understand that some people won't let you leave the room because they're abusers, and that is a crime. And that's why at the beginning I reiterated that safety is always our number one concern in a relationship. If it's not safe, we have to be removing ourselves from unsafe relationships when the opportunity presents itself. Because you are valuable and worthy of being treated with respect and kindness, even during a conflict. And I'm telling you because I love you. It's a sign of immaturity to continue to fight with someone who has no interest in validation or respect or understanding your point of view. Just ask yourself, have they ever cared about your perspective? Have they ever asked one question about your needs and feelings instead of launching into defensiveness or rage? No. Then why are we still doing what never worked and expecting different results? All right, the 7th clue is contempt. A narcissist's goal will always be to tear you down, emotionally, psychologically, financially, whatever it takes. So they will call you names. They will call you stupid or ugly or worthless. They will invalidate you. They'll dismiss your concerns and feelings. You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. You're really going to get upset about that? They will roll their eyes. They'll make fun of you or mock you. There's a reason Dr. John Gottman said that out of all the destructive behaviors, contempt is the most toxic and corrosive to love. Contempt is the narcissist's native language, and you need to be on high alert for it. But like I said before, sometimes the biggest problem isn't spotting these red flags. It's how you're going to respond to them when they rear their ugly heads. Because when you grew up with people who emotionally or physically neglected you, when you were conditioned to believe that you didn't deserve to be treated as valuable, it's not easy to turn self-worth or self-esteem on. And it puts you in extremely impressionable and vulnerable positions when you don't understand your worth, when you're filled with shame. Remember what Brene Brown said? Guilt is, I did something bad, but shame is, I'm bad. When you had bad examples of love growing up in the past, you're far more likely to settle for bad examples of love in the present, aren't you? And I'm just here to tell you, because I love you, you can't find it out there until you find it in here first. I know it seems counterintuitive, but it's true. If deep down you haven't healed those wounds, and you have a core belief that you don't deserve to be valued or prioritized or respected, then even if you met the right person, you will reject them because your mind is still threatened by their selflessness and kindness. This is part of becoming the right type of person. Self-compassion, honoring our inner child, protecting them, forgiving ourselves, and intentionally moving towards healing and emotional maturity and learning about boundaries and needs and emotional self-regulation. And of course, it doesn't eliminate the risk that someone won't take advantage of us, but it does give us a framework for what we know we deserve, which is respect and warmth, and for someone to be able to have a discussion with us without it turning into a fight. You deserve someone to care when they unintentionally hurt you. You deserve someone who invites and encourages your feelings instead of punishes you for them. And even if this relationship doesn't work out, we will grieve, but we will also still feel whole because we weren't looking for them to complete us. We can feel empowered because even though we liked them, we were able to see that this relationship wasn't meeting our needs, and we did something courageous. We said, this isn't working for me, instead of how can I make this work? And then we move on. That's healing. And that's something I want us all to be capable of.